Planning?
Yep.
Yeah. Who's doing finance?
Susan, I'd say.
Susan.
So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, members of council, members of management, for the 12 attendees that have signed on. Welcome to our last official public meeting to date for 2022, and what a year it has been. I'd like to wish a very Merry Christmas and all the best in the new year to all council, all staff, for the great work that we have achieved as a council and the support that we've had from management to achieve our goals and objectives for this year. And we'll clue up maybe a little bit later about some of the highlights. And this is a big meeting. We bring down our budget. Budget is very important. We also have Councillor Laura Aylward joining us via Teams. So welcome, Councillor Aylward.
Nice to be here, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And we don't have Councillor Myra White with us tonight because Christmas is so important with family, and all her family are in Ottawa, and Myra and her husband are in Ottawa, spending valuable time with their family during this very special time of the year. So on that note, I would ask a member of council to move that the agenda be adopted.
So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Susan Fowler. Seconder. Second, Councillor Tracy Boland. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, let me put on my glasses here. Let's roll. So item number 2 is the approval of the minutes. Item A, it was our public meeting of council December the 8th, 2022. That was circulated by our town clerk, Jennifer Bray, to council. I would ask a member of council to move that those minutes be adopted. Moved by Councillor Lenny Tiller, seconder. Second by Councillor Tracy Boland. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Okay, are there any matters arising from those minutes? You know, most times there's not. That tells me a lot of good things, that our notes and our clerical taken by the town clerk is really good. And our communication must be pretty good as a council, because we got some clear notations that come out of our minutes, and they're not really objected too much. It's a good thing. Okay, no proclamations and delegations for tonight. Committee report. So I'm going to turn it over to our acting chair of finance, Deputy Mayor Susan Fowler.
Thank you. So for the Finance Committee, under property tax, we are requesting approval for property tax write-offs in the amount of $317.76. I so move.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Susan Fowler.
Second.
Seconder. Second by Councillor Laura Aylward. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Number 2 is requesting approval for water and sewer tax adjustments in the amount of $1,021.68. I so move.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Susan Fowler, seconder. Second by Councillor Tracy Boland. All in favor?
Aye.
Councillor Ryan. Motion carried.
Item number 3, accounts payable listing, is requesting approval to pay accounts payable for November 2022 totaling $527,658.43. I so moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Susan Fowler, seconder. Second by Councillor Tristan Newland. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And number 4 is the adoption of tax rates and fees for 2023. Be it resolved that the town of Stephenville approve the tax rates and fees for 2023 as presented. So moved. Yes, you're presenting them.
Yeah, so moved by Deputy Mayor Susan Fowler, seconder.
I'll
Second, Councillor Tracy Boland. Just out of clarity, Tracy, do you have a copy of the minutes?
No, and I can't carry a computer in here, so
Yeah.
this makes it
And
difficult.
they're normally sometimes they're
need
up
one.
on our screen, so we don't have them on the screen tonight. Okay, thanks, Jennifer. So we have a motion and do we get a seconder on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Councillor Tracy Boland. All in favor?
I
Aye.
Which would be others.
Okay, and item number 5, the adoption of budget 2023. Acting on behalf of the Chair of the Finance Committee of the Town of Stephenville, I present the 2023 municipal operating budget for the Town of Stephenville. Stephenville has a long history of resilience and overcoming challenges and has seen rapid growth and rapid decline, but through it all, its residents have done so with perseverance and hope. Last few years have been filled with challenges and restrictions, which has challenged all of us. Inflation has hit the residents of Stephenville hard in 2022, and it is anticipated to continue to significantly influence in 2023 as the cost of most everything has increased, putting pressure on us all. But Stephenville has experienced a 2022 filled with hope and a future brighter than we can remember. While emerging from lockdown and restrictions, we're now realizing some incredible opportunities, and our community is poised to grow and develop. We look forward to the opportunities of green energy with World Energy GH2's wind-powered green hydrogen project, Nugeohonic, which was first announced in May 2022, anticipating 3 gigawatts of green wind energy capacity, which will drive 1.65 gigawatts of green hydrogen ammonia production for export to our European partners in support of global climate change initiatives. The project was the focus of international attention on the 23rd of August 2022, when Stephenville played host to Prime Minister Trudeau and German Chancellor Scholz for the signing of the historic Canada-Germany Hydrogen Alliance. The project is expected to create 1,800 new construction jobs, 300 new green energy jobs, and up to 2,500 secondary and tertiary jobs with an anticipated investment of approximately 10 to 12 billion. We additionally look forward to finalizing the Diamond Group's planned acquisition of Stephenville Airport, which will create significant opportunities in green aviation, sustainable aviation fuels, research, development, and cargo drone manufacturing and operations, to name but a few opportunities. The acquisition process is currently underway and expected to be finalized any day. Significant investments are anticipated in the coming 4 to 5 years, along with between 2,000 and 3,000 new direct jobs and many secondary jobs in support, engineering, airline sector, tourism, and construction. Significant additional developments are planned and will provide employment opportunities to other industries such as aquaculture, retail expansion, timber products, mineral concentrates, ammonia, aggregates, and manufactured goods. The operating budget that I present is a balanced budget with no increase in the mill rates, and will continue to provide the level of services which the town has provided in the past. Residents and businesses will be pleased to hear that there will be no change in the mill rate or water and sewer tax for 2023. A new focus on economic growth and development saw new staff resources added to the town structure in 2022, which will require more robust planning and engineering functions, which will be developed in the future to effectively manage new growth in the town of Stephenville. On the revenue side, there will be no increases to the mill rate in the current year. Total municipal revenue for 2023 is forecast to be $8,952,408, of which $7,418,166 is from taxation. The remaining revenue is derived from various sources such as permits, fees, and provincial transfers. Council will continue to aid low-income residents through offering discounts for taxes paid. Under expenditures, total expenditures for 2023 are forecasted to be $8,952,408. The total capital works submission for 2023 is anticipated to be approximately $10,892,450 and involves the reconstruction of streets with provincial and federal funding available in the amount of $8,713,960. This leaves the town's portion of the municipal capital works ask for 2023 of $2,178,490. Borrowing has increased this year more than it has in recent years as the town supports the attraction and retention of medical professionals, supports the regional Stephenville Airport Corporation, or has supported, pardon me, and also in the absence or withdrawal of some communities, provided critical support to recreation facilities as well. Capital expenditures approved in 2022, which will be implemented in 2023. Council, in partnership with the provincial and federal governments, continues to invest in the town's infrastructure with planned investments in the design of the new Stephenville Fire Hall, the reconstruction of Main Street, and the replacement of the overpass bridge on Minnesota Drive. In community development support, Council continues to provide support to our mostly volunteer community groups, which provide critical support to the residents of Stephenville and which make our town the unique and friendly community that it is. Council has committed to support our Indigenous communities with land grants and financial support to support wellness, healing, and community housing initiatives. Supporting our community partners, tourism and recreational organizations, beautification programs of the town, and our youth will continue to be a priority of this council. Mr. Mayor, Council, and residents of Stephenville, I present to you the 2023 municipal operating budget. We continue to invest in our community and will respond to the opportunities that 2023 will provide us, while ensuring that our residents live in a safe and inclusive space where the quality of life is enhanced for all our residents. Building on our green future, we will endeavor to become more sustainable as a council and a community. By keeping the mill rate the same for 2023, council can support those in our community already feeling the effects of inflation. We look forward to the bright yet demanding 2023 and commit to continuing to support our residents in town in realizing this bright future. I move the adoption of the 2023 municipal operating budget as presented.
Okay,
Second.
thank you very much. We have a mover of our 2023 budget.
Second,
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow, for the overview of what the budget represents, and more importantly, how it developed in the future of Stephenville as we grow the community. So can I get a seconder?
I'll second.
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 Sorry, Lori, second.
Second by Councilor Laura Aylward. I would now open the floor for question to talk about the budget or any clarification at this point in time.
Question, or say, sorry, my voice. Out of principle, and some of this is me not being here last week for Thursday's meeting, but I did send in some questions and I did get a chance to talk to Colin today, but I still do have some concerns.
Okay.
And there is a lot of positive things, and I commend every one of you for it all. And everyone around this table and management and staff who worked on the budget. But where I do have concerns, I'm going to respectfully vote against the budget, understanding that everything in this is positive, but it's just a matter of principle for me and the concerns that I have.
Okay, thank you for those comments.
Excuse
It
me.
probably would be to the benefit of this council or those that are viewing, that if you want to just go over what part of the budget, what line items, what mill rates, what components are you not happy with or not in favor with, that may, once I call for the vote, to get a nay from you. So if you want to clarify on some specifics of the budget, either on the revenue or the expense side, whatever, just open it up.
I'm not sure by looking at this version of it, like this, the one that we have in front of us. But I know there were certain things where we increased spending where I thought we should have been decreasing spending, such as in travel and other expenditures in certain departments for like vehicles and other things like that. And then I couldn't find anywhere in the budget, and I did speak to the manager tonight, and apparently there is a line there. I'm not satisfied with the number, and I'm not sure how it works, but the debt servicing, I'm not sure we talked about it enough. That if we do have any debt, what our plan is to pay that down within this budget. And if can we do it with the mill rate as it is, because I don't know. But that's my biggest concern is I didn't see anything per se that would help us pay down the deficit that we have for this year. And I wish I should have brought the other version of the budget because I had all the notes. And out of respect, I don't want to take up my phone, but there were certain things that increased that I shot to decrease, and things that decreased I thought should increase. And it's no fault of anybody, but it was sent out last Wednesday, and just the nature of how it went, I guess with COVID and sickness and all this, that I don't feel comfortable enough to say yes, but more consultation. So I don't know if we put a motion to the floor to try to ask for an extension until the end of January, or if you guys are comfortable to pass it tonight, then so be it. I don't want to put my name to it as it is at the moment.
So just for clarity, we have the responsibility to submit our budget to municipal affairs
Correct.
by the end of the month.
Correct.
Tonight, and you're a member of the finance committee, and that's why it's open for question. Should you have not derived the information you needed to fulfill your needs, whether you're comfortable or not comfortable. Just clarity on debt servicing. There's a couple of ways we do debt servicing. One is we use general revenues to pay the contribution. So, for example, on a $1 million municipal capital works project, we would have to, if we're doing a $1 million project next year, we got to come up with 200,000. Some years we'll use the 200,000 out of general revenues. Some years we'll borrow rather than increasing the mill rate because we have like a 1 to 2% debt load ratio at the town of Stevenville. We're one of the best communities financially managed in the province. Most municipalities are between 15 and 20, which limits their ability to borrow to service your debt load ratios. So when we met as the finance committee, knowing we have 2 major projects this year that's going ahead, and very comfortable that municipal affairs has granted the $5 million Main Street project, which is a significant piece of work, plus the overpass that was delayed a year. So those projects will come in and show our contribution. When we pass a budget and we go into 2023, it's kind of based on where we were in 2022. Some forecasting happens, but until you start rolling to your first quarter and second quarter, we may have an opportunity to do disposition of assets belonging to the town that will bring in new revenue. At that point, we may not even have to borrow to service our debt. We may have enough revenue coming in general revenues to pay the $200,000 on that $1 million capital works project. So that's some of the clarity that you need to understand, and we all need to understand as a council, is that we have so much latitude. And the reason why is because this council and councils before has managed the books so well. And we only have a 1 to 2%. So anytime we see cash flow or we can't afford to spend 200,000 on a $1 million capital works project, we can just go down to the bank and get 200,000 and then amortize that, whether we want to do it over 5 or 10 years or whatever we want to do. So from the framework of that, we're in really good shape. And I hope that kind of clarified for you, Councillor Teller, on the debt servicing. Obviously, you mentioned travel too. Well, in the address from our deputy mayor on our finance budget for this year, this was a historic year for the town of Stevenville. It was a historic year for Newfoundland. It was a historic year for Canada. What had happened in Stevenville, Newfoundland on August 23rd, where a G7 World Summit was held. And because of that, that created opportunities for us to travel because we have a $12 billion budget coming in to this community and region to help our families to create a greater prosperity for the future. So our travel budget went up a little bit, but it's all about return on investment. But as you well know, every single item, whether it's in the budget, it's in a line item, because it's just a framework of a budget. Still, nothing gets approved unless it comes to a public council meeting for approvals. So we do have some really good framework as laid down by municipal affairs that protects the budget, but still protects every decision of the budget as we roll it out in the fiscal year. So that's where we don't always agree, and that's a good thing. We shouldn't always agree. But it gives us a chance to debate, to discuss, and to determine, is it the best interest of the town and its residents? So that's just a couple of things I just wanted to clear from what you were saying. Any other comments?
Lenny, I have no, or Councillor Tiller, sorry. I have no problem with you pulling out your phone if that's where your questions are, if you feel more comfortable to find them.
Be here on, I sent the questions last Thursday to everybody.
Oh, okay.
We got them today, and myself and the manager got through some of it, but that's just my feeling right now. And I do respect everyone's position at this table, and I respect every bit of work that was done.
Okay. The other thing I want to say too, that I really appreciate the work of management and council on this budget, because like inflation just didn't hit all of us individually. It actually hit this town too. The cost of diesel, for example, is just an example. The cost of electrical supplies, everything that's affecting everybody else in the real world affects us as a public body. But for us to bring down a budget that showed no increases, it's a great step showing that we're doing everything possible to tighten the purse strings so that we create less harm on our families and residents and businesses that are struggling with inflation. And, you know, COVID is like in the address. We have COVID, then we have inflation. But, you know, what's great about our town is what's happening on the green energy file, on the aerospace file. And we're in good shape as we move forward. Line items will change on the revenue side, I'm anticipating in 2023 by indications. But you can't put it in until you see it. And that's when we end off a year. We really never know how we ended off with a surplus or a deficit until it gets adjusted by the auditors that are highly financed as CPA chartered accountants. So I think we're in good shape, but one great thing, Councillor Tiller, is you did reach out to the manager, and that's important. It's the management that brings the final budget down. It's up to council to determine, is it the right fit for business? Is it the right fit for the residents of our town? So any other comments or questions? No. So on that note, I will call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Contramine? So noted, Jennifer, we had one contramine. So motion is carried. It is, it's technically not an expense item. I think it could have been carried with 4, but, or 3, because we're down to 6 people here. I think that, yeah.
Yeah.
So it is, we're not actually spending anything. We're framing up this budget. So
Right.
that note, I want to thank you for that, Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow of the Finance Committee. Okay. Anything late for finance?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, I'm going to now turn it over to Tristan Yulin, Councillor Tristan Yulin, for our item under planning and traffic 5.2.
Thank you very much. Be a fairly late one to end off the year. So I won't bore everybody too much. So our first item.
You're getting off easy, my dear. Okay.
It's like Dave, yeah. We've got 7 Neptune Drive, King's Cab. Request approval to issue a permit to operate a taxi service and erect signage on the building located at 7 Neptune Drive. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Tristan Yule, second by Councilor Lenny Tiller. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I noticed today he had an ad in the shuttle services to Deer Lake, and I believe there was one other spot as well.
Yeah.
So yes,
Excellent.
Let's hope that that's gonna be short-lived.
yes.
That's right. Unless you want to go there,
Yeah.
unless you want to go there to shop or something. They got a good store in there. That's right.
No, well.
Yeah, skip the page.
Stick with the.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Yeah,
Got a blank
okay.
page there, yeah.
Item number B, okay.
All right.
Keep me on track here, Councilor Yule.
So our second item on planning and traffic, 2 Iowa Drive, non-Newfoundland Aboriginal Women's Network. Request approval to issue a permit to construct a transitional house and cultural healing and wellness center on the property located at 2 Iowa Drive. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Tristan Yule, second by Councilor Tracy Boland. Question on that, I'd just like to say that I'm very proud of this item on a couple of reasons. It shows, first of all, such a strong leadership from the women of our Indigenous communities. This has been championed by NON. NON is headquartered in Stephenville, Newfoundland. It's Newfoundland Aboriginal Women's Network, and that's very important. But because the town of Stephenville has partnered, we are playing our role on the role of reconciliation. As we well know, across Canada, there have been many hardships that have been inflicted by First Nations. And all you have to do is watch the news to see it. But I think even in our area, if you look at the socioeconomics of the region compared to other areas, and a commonality of an item you could pick is family income. This region probably has one of the lowest in the province. Why is that? Well, it's probably because of the Indigenous and French. But that's changing. And it's changing because of leadership by community groups such as NON, the establishment of Halaku First Nation, how education is playing a key role, medical is playing a key role, wellness is playing a key role to advance those families. And reconciliation is something that just doesn't come up all of a sudden and you do something that is over. It's a continuous momentum that we have to be focused on in our community. No different than we're focused on the business community, our seniors, our children, our environment. It's a sector that we have to be focused on. So on that note, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
And our final item for planning and traffic, we've got public meeting schedule for 2023. It was the recommendation of the committee that 2023 public meeting schedule be approved as follows. January 12th and 26th, February 9th and 23rd, March 9th, 23rd, April 6th and 20th, May 4th and 18th, June 1st, 15th and 29th, July 20th, August 10th and 31st, September 14th and 28th, October 12th and 26th, November 9th and 23rd, December the 14th. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Tristan Yule, seconder. Second, Councilor
Sorry.
Lenny Taylor. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Is there anything late, Colin or Jennifer, on planning? No. Nobody building a gingerbread house without a permit? Just asking. Because I've been driving around town, make sure everybody's in compliance, right?
Of course.
Bylaws and regulations, nothing, any unfinished business. Any new business?
I've got,
Go ahead, Susan.
I just give you a little brief. I guess I attended meetings in St. John's 2 weeks ago, was it? For the Urban Municipalities Committee. And so that's made up of towns with a population over 5,000 or 6,000, 5,000, I think it is. So there's a, you know, good number of people who attend that particular meeting. And unlike the one before, where there seemed to be a number of topics, we tried a new approach, which was a more focused day or two of meetings. And the focus of this one was on healthcare and health and wellness. And so we had a number of very interesting and I think very productive and positive meetings with, we met with the deputy minister, whose name escapes me, of the relatively newly established government department. She's a doctor from near possibly, a family doctor who has taken a leave to accept this position for a period of time. And this is the department that's going to, I think, be involved with and help with the rollout of the new health accord. I found it very positive to hear some of the things that were happening and to realize and recognize that the pieces of the health accord that I think are very, very good pieces are actually unfolding with a fairly targeted effort, which I think is good. And I was also fairly excited by the fact that there's people who have taken leaves from their job and are working in these departments. So they're there to do a job, not to become career anythings. And so I think they're going to work hard and ask the hard questions and not accept, you know, the kind of political answers sometimes. So I think that's very positive. And so they have, for example, she's just really tooling up that office now. And they have a number of positions. They have a woman from Ukraine who is actually working with the Ukrainian doctors and to help navigate some of the red tape and so on. They've got somebody who's working on recruitment, you know, the talk about going to India to recruit nurses. They've got people, so that's all happening through that department. So it was a really positive, I thought, meeting, some really good discussions, and I really quite liked the deputy minister and told her so that I found it very hopeful that she was, you know, in it for what seemed to be the right reasons. We met with then Sister Elizabeth Davis, who we had some discussions on the health accord. We met with her and not Dr. Paffrey. Largely because he has moved into that new department as well and is working on certain areas of the health accord within that department. So there's certain things he couldn't say anymore that she felt she could say. So so we met with her and we had some really good and candid discussions again. And she just kind of reiterated the whole process that I really think there's a lot of hope in the new structure that they're talking about in terms of the health accord, because it's really, you know, the challenge of our province, as you all know, is the geography. You know, we've got a small population spread out over a huge area, and we're trying to provide quality service to everybody. And I think, so this whole idea around really allowing people to work to full scope of their practice. So nurses and nurse practitioners, doctors doing certain things, nurse practitioners filling gaps, paramedics filling gaps. We've got a new advanced care paramedicine group going to come through. So I think there's a lot of really helpful and hopeful things as well. And we met with the president of the Paramedics Association as well. And there's a number of things that they're working on in terms of ambulance service and trying to improve ambulance service and also improve or spread, allow particularly ACPs or advanced care paramedics to work in different fields. And so they're following different models where once you would go to a house, pick up someone, transport them to the hospital, provide the service and bring them back. They're looking at now being able to, bring the service to the patient. So the ACPs would go and provide a lot of the service in home versus having to transport everyone. So I felt very good about the meetings. I think they're moving forward, and I think they're trying to move forward strategically. And so I'm kind of feeling a little bit more hopeful about that. I think the message that came through loud and clear from everybody again, around recruitment and stuff, and the message, I guess, to us as we try to continue to recruit and retain doctors was that family practice is critical. Family doctors are critical. And one of the things that becomes a huge obstacle to family physicians who want to operate clinics and stuff is not the cost of providing the service, it's the cost of running the business on top of that, right? So that trying to operate a clinic, paying for the rent, paying for the support, paying for all the other things that take away from what the family physician is able to make. So sometimes we look at like signing bonuses or other things. We might want to consider looking at ways and talking to our family physicians and looking at ways that we can provide some support around those business or clinical expenses as opposed to, worrying about salaries, so on. So that was the gist of those meetings.
That sounds really good, and there's no doubt that I feel too that the new health board is going to get a lot of things right, because the healthcare needs a shakeup and how it's managed and run, and it's gone through an evolution of change on several files. One is an aging population. It's the mental health issues that are out there, but it's also the work-life balance of those professionals. And as we well know, I'll just give you one example. In the past, government wouldn't offer full-time employment to nurses. So a lot of those nurses couldn't buy a car, couldn't get a mortgage. So what do? They leave for better employment. So here we are now with estimated 600 vacancies in the nursing occupation. And that creates burnout. And that creates, a lot of stressors on the system. So this healthcare accord, we have done a lot of great work as a municipality, meeting with the healthcare accord. We also just update too before Councilor Orban is speaking. Friday morning, we're meeting with Minister Tom Osborne.
No, tomorrow morning, isn't it?
The 23rd, is it the 23rd, Jennifer?
21st tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow morning? Oh, tomorrow morning.
It's tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock.
Okay,
Right, Jennifer?
Yeah, sorry, Wednesday morning. What am I thinking? I'm thinking it's Thursday. We normally have our council meetings on Thursdays. This is Tuesday. Okay, so tomorrow morning. So couple of big things that we're speaking to the minister on is the management and the operational efficiencies of our hospital. If we have a hospital with functional operating rooms that are not busy because it's not staffed, that's the staffing and the management issue. That's one thing. But more importantly, speaking to the minister, is to speak about where we're heading as a community, where we're going to be 5, 10, 15 years from now. So we're going to end up with a lot of young families living in Stephenville because of the jobs created by these sectors, green and aerospace, that are coming in. But these new sectors and young families, the birth rate is really going to go up. And our hospital was designed with obstetrics, and you can validate for that from Laura shortly. But it takes time to build up the suite of professionals from gynecology, I believe. Yeah, okay. Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyways, so we'd like to speak to him and really get Stephenville on the radar. We're on the radar in Ottawa. We're in the radar in Germany about what's happening here. We're in the radar in the aviation circles right now to see how this is going to transpire. We need to be on the radar with the new health accord and the planning of our hospital and the expansion of our hospital. Because we need to ensure that that modern professional facility, professionals that work there, are utilized to the best interests of the community. Okay, Councilor.
Yeah, is any of the other counselors available to attend that meeting tomorrow morning as well?
Sadly, I'm in the hospital getting my arm fixed.
10:30? 10:30? Is it 10:30? 10 o'clock? Okay.
10 o'clock, Jennifer said, right, Jennifer?
Is it here? Well, it's through Zoom. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll be on through this Teams, whatever. Jennifer's gonna make sure that I get on, she said. For tomorrow morning.
To me, the person that I need probably is Laura,
Yes.
up to her background
Yeah.
on this one.
We the mayor Tom, the mayor forgot to mention, I guess, that we had a meeting virtual with the Chief of Medical Affairs, Dr. Dennis Rajley, and Paulette Morgan, who was the Senior Manager of Quality Health and Safety, I believe. And there was Danielle was there. I think Danielle was there, wasn't she, Tom? At that meeting? Or was she? No, I'm not sure. But anyway, the chief was there, and the recruitment person, Carmel Turpin, was there as well. So we had a discussion about the situation of the doctor situation right at the moment, and some of the reasons why they leave. And of course, we're losing a family doctor from Dr. McCumsky's clinic, and we're losing a family doctor from Bay St. George Medical Clinic. If they don't try and work out a situation whereby his wife can work as an ultrasound technologist, she's trained as an ultrasound technologist, and she can work in any hospital in the province, but Western Health won't accept her, and I couldn't get a reason why, really, why, but so Dr. Michael is, I'm told, ready to leave now if she, if she can't get this position, and we need an ultrasound technologist because the girl that we have is the only one we have, and she's going to retire in 2 years. If Mrs. Michael, if that's her name, because sometimes they go by their family name, if she's looking for work here and she's got all the qualifications where she trained and everywhere else and worked in other hospitals, and she's able to work here, and if she was in need of some kind of a course to up her skills or whatever, she's here long enough, she could have had that done because they've been here for about 3 or 4 years. So to me, that's the situation that I think the minister should be looking into, that type of a situation.
I think too, we did challenge the Western Health team as an action item to go in and find out why and report back to us.
Yeah.
Because sometimes files are just left there and people don't deal with it. So we did have a really good discussion. We did get an update that a new surgeon and a locum senior surgeon are scheduled to be coming in the new year into Stephenville too, which is good news. So we'll update, but I'll see you with Minister Osborne in the morning, Laura.
Yeah.
And we'll be ready to ask some questions and table some action items or deliverables that will come back from the minister's department.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that he's going to be surprised at some of the things because he's really, I guess, not in the know. For example, Dr. Crowley's coming back in March. Dr. Crowley's a retired surgeon who came here this past year and left. I think it was August, and did he's a great surgeon and he's retired. We need a full-time permanent surgeon here, and the lady that's in Corner Brook, talking about coming out here to try, for 3 months, but she won't be able to come out until he comes. According to Dr. Rajley, he feels she needs to have more time and needs to have somebody with her. But the problem is, if we don't have like a full-time surgeon, how are we going to get to keep? We lost the surgeon that was coming from St. Anthony. He went to Manitoba and he was all ready to come here. So I don't know what happened there. He slipped through their fingers somehow. So I'm Susan. What Susan had to say was all positive, but I'm just a little bit leery of why the things are getting handled at the helm of Western Health.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that's got to happen in the shakeup of the Accord, to speak to the minister on, is that Stephenville has such a big budget, big staffing, big responsibilities, a 24-hour emergency hospital with OR suites, that we have to be managed locally on the ground in Stephenville, not micromanaged off-site. That's our biggest issue. So that's something I've been preaching. And so let's keep driving it home. But it's an important file to us and we'll stay on top of it.
Yeah, well, if I gotta make some notes now tonight, so I have something to more things to ask, because like you just said, with the OR suites that we have here that are not being used because we got no surgeon, and you've got the surgeons in Corner Brook fighting for OR time, why aren't they coming out here to take care of some of our surgeries that are on the waiting list and to get them cleared up? What's the difference? They go into Corner Brook. Why not come out here and do a week at a time or something? And this is what we've been proposing for years. So that's something we need to really bring home to him tomorrow too, Tom.
So we'll nail that tomorrow. Susan, did you have something?
Yeah, just one more thing that Laura, something you said reminded me back to the meetings that I was having when they talked, the deputy minister talked about recruiting and stuff. And one of the things that she did talk about and recognize was that we weren't necessarily recruiting our own as well as we should. And that they had a number of things happening now with Memorial to try to target particularly Newfoundland doctors. But she talked to us about municipalities and one of many ways that we could provide support and possibly assist with keeping doctors, and that is through their when doctors are almost finished and they're doing their residency and they apply to go to wherever to do it, that whenever we have opportunities to have doctors here, the more that we can provide them with things to do, help them meet people, get them out to events and so on, so that they can kind of become part of the fabric of the community a little bit, more likely they are obviously to look positively at that community when they're looking at where they'd like to come. So as we talked as a group about municipalities possibly, putting together some plans in terms of welcoming people and how to do it kind of as part of how we provide support, right? So that we can't all put money into signing bonuses, but we can certainly all commit to setting up processes, maybe have a thank you meal, for people, whatever. But anyway, to provide opportunities for people to become part of the bigger community, because really that's what today's doctors are looking for as well. I mean, when you've got 5 doctors, they've got the same kind of qualification, It's about what else you can offer them besides that, right? In terms of lifestyle. So,
I was thinking that, when we brought out the incentives, that some of the locals would look at it. Some of them didn't. Some of them didn't even want it. And the recruitment part of it, recruitment for the region, Western Health, should be at those meetings in St. John's when they're looking to hire the medical students. And at one point, there used to be 4 and 5 medical students that would come out here. Some of them, most of them in their first and second year. And I interviewed a lot of them. Matter of fact, Dr. Lewis was one of them. And and Justin Oak. There was a bunch of them that came in different years. And I spoke to them and told them all that we had and everything else. Now I don't think they're even doing that now, sending out the students to our area anymore. So that's another thing we could think about asking too as well.
Yeah, and there was one doctor I know, was I was talking to his mother, who wanted to come here and do his residency and couldn't get it worked out and ended up going somewhere in Central. What he wanted to be here where he grew up. So
anyways, it's a big file, it's complicated, but we have to stay on top of it and do our part. It's important. A couple things before we clue up here, I just want to say that when we look in 2022, so I'd just like to highlight a couple of things I thought were very important for our community. So let's start with the children. The new playground that we built. The accolades, the comments, the high utilization says it all. It was a great work done by Champion as a policy to move it forward with council management making it happen. Very grateful of that. On our senior side, I have to say that with the Guardian Angels that you have started up, Tracy, that is a phenomenal program. You're getting a lot of media on it, which is good, puts STEAMO in the highlights, but also the continuation of our desk bus for people, seniors and people with disabilities. So we're making some really good strides. Mentioned earlier about what we're doing. But the last one I'd like to leave is we will go down as a council in infamy in the history books as a council that played a part in bringing the G7 summit to Stephenville, Newfoundland. That has never happened in this province, ever. And what that's going to do to our local business is phenomenal. But it takes local business to step up also and take advantage to sometimes take that risk. It's called risky business for a reason. If you wait too long, you may miss your opportunity. So on that note, I think we've covered, excuse me, a lot of the basis for the community.
I'd like to talk about the Christmas adventure.
okay, that's what I was just.
We did host the Christmas adventure on Saturday, December 17th, and it was very successful despite all the canceled events and floats the day of due to influenza and COVID. But we had double the numbers from last year's Christmas adventure. And I spoke to, because of the Rec House newspaper advertising it, we had a lot of people from Codroy Valley, Corner Brook, Port aux Basques, staying in hotels, buying from our stores, Christmas shopping all day, came out early. And I just want to personally thank the volunteers, the committee that helped put this together, the workers of the town of Stephenville, I mean, the best. And I also want to thank the businesses that did participate and took that marketing tool, and they had a lot of customers that day. So good on the businesses that really supported and gave it back to our community, because people really appreciated them.
Yeah.
If I could add to that, my congratulations to that committee. It was, I've, been lucky enough to be at all of them and talked to tons and tons of people, and it's just one of my favorite evenings. I think everybody who's out and about is in a good mood. You don't, it's an evening where you can wander around, and as a counselor, you don't get a lot of them where you can wander in a crowd and nobody wants to tell you something negative. Everyone is just really, really buoyed and really in the spirit. So I say congratulations, kudos, and may it continue for a long time. Having said all that, I got to add my one little disappointment, and I guess issue a challenge in that I was disappointed with how few businesses
Yes.
I was as well.
were lit up, were decorated, were whatever. I think they missed an excellent opportunity to really participate and become known as a business that gets into the community. And so I walked up one side and down the other, and I was disappointed at times at the black spaces, right, that weren't lit up. And so, you know, a challenge to businesses. I know it's a busy time of year. I know that people have been sick and staffing issues and all that stuff. But, you know, get in the spirit, put some lights up.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that because one of the conversations we had with the committee is we know that certain businesses on Main Street do not want to participate.
Yeah,
There's a little bit of a Grinch going on here.
Yeah.
You know, they're the Grinch of Christmas.
Yeah.
They're not happy or some strange reason. But we need some leadership from the BIA on Main Street to make that happen. And one of our plans was to, and we had a lot of cancellations because of
Yes.
the flu and whatnot. And I was so disappointed, even myself. On Saturday night, I was midstream into my flu. I could barely talk. I said, if I go down on Main Street and people want to talk to me and I can't,
yeah,
you know, and I missed it. This is the first one I missed myself as the mayor. But we had planned to use floats and different things in
Yeah.
the black zones to cover up the dead stores that
Yeah.
don't want to participate.
yeah,
So you know what? We're gonna be ready for the ones who want to be the Grinch next year.
yeah,
And we might Grinch them up
yep, that's
on
right.
purpose.
We should get a few Grinch.
I
votes.
will have to say Danny's Bakery were 100%
Yeah.
on board. Sadly, they had a death in the
Yeah,
family.
well, there's a difference.
Workers' family, so they, you know, they were really heartbroken not to be
There's
part
gonna
of
be
it.
a scattered
There's gonna be stuff like that happen,
Yeah.
but there are people who think, well, what's the point of me doing it? No one wants to come in here or whatever, but that's not the point either. It's a holiday time. We're trying to make it, well, sure, we're encouraging people to shop local, but we're also encouraging people to find some hope and some joy at a time of year
Yes.
when we
Well,
should.
it's frustrating to us as a committee,
Yeah.
that businesses are not coming on board and giving back to the community.
Yeah.
It's just a couple of hours.
Maybe we can.
But it was
pass a
done-
bylaw or something for next Christmas that any store that doesn't decorate for the Christmas adventure, taxes are gonna double.
But it was double the numbers and we had a ton of people and
That's what I'm saying.
At the end of the day, there was-
Boy, oh boy.
there was a lot of happy people, a lot of happy kids, a lot of happy parents, friends seeing friends they haven't seen in ages.
Yep.
Just
It's
100%
just a fabulous night.
happiness
Yeah.
happens Saturday.
And every year we order it up and the
Yeah.
weather cooperates every year. It's incredible, eh?
So council members, staff, people, we have 20 attendees. Thanks for joining into our public meeting. And I have to say that it's been a tremendous year on council with this team. But I want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, all the very best in the new year, and not too much figgy pudding, okay?
Bring me some figgy food.
So on that note, I would ask a member of council to move that we adjourn this last public meeting of 2022. Moved by Deputy Mayor Susan Fowler, second Councilor Tracy Boland, all in favor.
Aye. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you, Laura.
Laura,
Yeah.
Laura?
are we
Bye.
still